The officials for this game tonight, Brian Abbott, Jason Parks, and Tim Czechia. As we have a top 12 battle, it's Rutgers in black, Penn State here at home on senior night. In the white jerseys, 9 seniors honored with their families prior to the game here at Panzer. Right off the jump.
Finds Winkoff wide open. That is too easy off ball.
Mark mentions the confidence is growing. That's goals in 5 straight for Winkoff, now 16 on the season. Dugenio lost his lid on the draw. The possession is going to be awarded here to Penn State. Made some separation between himself and Noah Daniels and converted. This is a scramble off the ensuing face-off. Dugenio and Mullins expected to get the Lions' share of the draws tonight. Joe Neuman is the understudy for Dugenio. Hudson Bond and Richie Houston perhaps throughout the night for the Nittany Lions. As Rutgers has control, bringing it along, it's LeJon Jones.
Confidence of Sickler to whistle that one by Mullins for about 16 yards.
Sickler playing a defensive midfield role this season. A year ago, he had 15 tallies, a hat trick against Penn, a couple of goals against Johns Hopkins in Big Ten play. Gets himself on the board. It's 3 unanswered for Penn State. Winkoff, Costin, and Sickler back to back to back.
Jack Trainer and TJ Malone have missed significant time throughout their careers in the injuries. And as we watch these seniors tonight, Joe, to the 9 of them from Penn State, they've seen the best. They were members of that 2019 National Championship, National Semifinalist team led by Jake Moore, and slips that by Mullen.
5-0, music to the ears for head coach Jeff Tambroni. 5-0 Nittany Lions. Morin's multi-assist game last week was his first of the season. There he calls his own number. It's 5 different goal scorers for Penn State and possession of 4 of his last 7. He's been playing some midfield. He's been playing some attack. He picks up goal number 10 on the season. There's movement on the ensuing face-off. Last-ditch effort now for the Scarlet Knights in the final 24 ticks of the opening quarter.
Boy, if they can, for John Tillman and Braden Erksa, is he the next big thing in College Park?
Those two, Johns Hopkins and Maryland, they play for the rivalry trophy. Rutgers and Penn State battle for the Friendship Cup tonight. So far, so good for the home team, the Nittany Lions in the white jerseys. Out in front, 5-1. Last man on the board for Rutgers was Eric Savetti to stem the tie.
You ever try to lift that rivalry trophy, Joe, between Hopkins and Maryland?
It's a very large, very heavy crab.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could. We both could try. You know, Max V. He did not push him out. He didn't get a hand in his gloves. Just gets run by, and Amo makes him pay.
Face-off win there for Joe Neuman, the Yale transfer who subs in for John Dugenio. Amo bags his 21st of the campaign. 5 out of the...
Gets his feet set, picks his spot, and delivers a bullet.
He did have a helper last week against the Terrapins in that losing effort. Rutgers seeing its nation-long home field win streak put aside by the Terps. Sprock on the board. He's the 6th leading point producer for Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights have battled back after surrendering the opening 5 goals again to start this game. Penn State in possession. 12 in the white as well. Luke Mercer just 1 goal in his last 5. Dents the twine right there. It's Penn State doubling up on the Scarlet Knights. Back to the face-off dot we go. With the ball down. It comes up for black-jerseyed Rutgers. Shane Knobloch hanging
it past Mullins. Penn State back up by 4. 7
different goal scorers for the Nittany Lions. Long with tallies in 4 of his last 6. To the draw we go, and it is Mullins who comes up with possession for Penn State.
Well, that's where you got to really appreciate the depth of scoring that the Nittany Lions bring to this 2023 team. Makes them really, really hard to defend. You can't key on one guy.
Moving the ball well here, a bouncer from... This was a 6 p.m. Eastern time start. Around 5:30 today, we had a downpour. And then very, very late in the second quarter, the rain began once again. And we begin quarter 3 with Chase Mullins winning the draw, getting the better of John Dugenio. We've seen Dugenio and Joe Neuman share face-off duties tonight for Coach Breck. Visiting Rutgers in the black, trails by 4 as the second half begins.
Yeah, I think that was a very generous offer you made to Coach Breck for an umbrella, but he's a Long Island guy. He's tough. He's going to turn you down.
Malone fires, he scores! Right off the jump, it's TJ Malone.
Malone has been carving up Rutgers with assists in the first quarter. In the second quarter, it came on an extra man. But Coach Breck just talked about those slips and the picks. And here, they're just not going to respect TJ Malone, the feeder. He gets ahead of steam, gets top side, and is just going to dust the defense. There's the pick, and he just turns it on right there. No need to throw back, and that's confidence, shooting high to high and putting it right under the crossbar.
Malone with a goal and 3 assists in the game already. He has had 3 or more assists in games 5 times this season for Penn State. It's 8-3, equaling the largest lead on the night. Off the ground on the face-off, LeJon Jones Jr. gets possession for the Scarlet Knights.
And not the way you want to start the second 50 in white.
Shane Knobloch, first team All-Big Ten midfielder playing attack. We mentioned that Brian Cameron is out. Brian Brecht, head coach for Rutgers, said they're hopeful that Cameron will be available for April 29th, the beginning of the Big Ten tournament. Rutgers within 4 and with the ball. Solid at the defensive end. Frassian continues to make saves by the bushel. Posey peeking out on Scott. He's done a nice job of trying to keep Ross quiet. That's an unenviable assignment. Bulldozing in late in the quarter. Snapshot rattles around and out. How many times has Frassian heard a very complicated...
You don't have to get off to the perfect start every game, but you just can't get off to a bad start. And unfortunately for Rutgers, that's what's happened these last 2 weeks.
Joe Neuman took the draw for Rutgers to start the fourth quarter against Chase Mullins. Rutgers is in the black. Bottom of the hour time. 3 cheers for all the men and women.
Come at the most inopportune times and really cost them in the big scheme of things. Again, they're just trying to... They're playing for that number 4 seed, which would mean they would host a game next weekend versus traveling across the country to either...
Brawl all the way. Goes behind the back. He just missed. The first career goal for Mac Hobbs is on the board, and it's number 11 for the Nittany Lions.
Ethan Rawl, great play. But I tell you what, Joe, for as good as Ethan Rawl is, that's the first time we've called his name tonight that I can recall. I mean, a tough ground ball. Almost had an opportunity, this kind of an RPI win to boost their tournament resume. As I mentioned, they have 2 top 20 wins on their resume. This would be a top 10 and would go a long way if they can...
With 6.5 to go.
As we look forward to the game after us, Joe, Ohio State, Michigan, Jack Myers, Ed Sheehan, Kyle Borda, the leaders of that Ohio State offense. Can they get off the ground? And what do they do with the face-off, Doc? They're facing Wheatfeld, who comes into that bout with those matchups. How about Weirman?
And Naruski, who's getting better and better.
Well, and if it's not Naruski, it could be Dunn, it could be Callahan. You've got 3 guys that can try to provide some kryptonite to Superman, Luke.
These 2 teams battling for the Friendship Cup, which debuted in 1998. Penn State, with this win, will assure itself of at least a share of the Big Ten regular season title.